Hello and welcome to another Canguro English Daily Digest. My name is Christian and today is Friday, the best day of the week. Now, yesterday I spoke about how we should learn and especially teach language, not by focusing on studying language, but by studying communication and ideas and concepts and knowledge. And I had a lot of feedback from students, but especially from teachers, saying, well, that's all fine, Christian, but how do I do that? How do I transmit knowledge rather than focusing on language? So today I'm going to give you kind of a practical example of how you can teach knowledge and language in the classroom using flying penises. Now, the reason that we're going to talk about flying penises is because, the truth is a lot of people in a classroom environment are kind of, children to adolescents. And that is a demographic that loves talking about penises. So let's roll with it. Okay, so yesterday I used an example of a question from the IELTS exam, okay? And the question was, some people believe that there should be fixed punishments for each type of crime. Others, however, argue that the circumstances of an individual crime and the motivation for committing it should always be taken into account when deciding on the punishment. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Okay, so, and as I said yesterday, knowing all of the technical aspects of language will not help us to answer this question. We need knowledge. So, let's imagine I'm the teacher, I've got my group of students. So let's start with a question. Now, imagine you are sitting in the audience and you're watching a magic show and the magician does this amazing trick. How do you feel? What's that sensation? Write down some adjectives. Okay, so you could say maybe, wow, okay, so I kind of feel awe. Awe, like this kind of awe, like in awesome. Maybe you could also say, I am stunned, right? Because, we're moving from intermediate to advanced. We want to push our students to learn some, advanced vocabulary. Or stunned. What about if you feel, awed would be the adjective, sorry, awed. Stunned. What about if you feel, mesmerized? Ooh, that's a good one, right? Mesmerised. Mesmerised. Ooh. And this is a really interesting adjective because it comes from the name of a person, Franz Mesmer. And he was a German, I don't know the word, maybe we could say hypnotist. He was a person who was interested in the idea of this mysterious, invisible force that connects all of the things in the universe. It's kind of an abstract idea, right? And so he used to do things like hypnotism, and so the people that he worked with, his experimental kind of students, they would get mesmerized. He would hypnotize them, and they were like, So that's a great adjective. And also maybe you could also say that you were fascinated by this magic show. Fascinated. And so as students you have created some adjectives. Maybe I could say, look in your thesaurus for some synonyms, for some more adjectives. Let's talk about them. And also, it's a great opportunity to talk about adjectives with ed and adjectives with ing, right? Like stunned versus stunning, mesmerized versus mesmerizing. Okay, so we can incorporate that into the discussion. Okay? But let's talk about this. Fascinate. 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 To be fascinated is when you find something extremely interesting, right? But it's kind of related to these ideas of being awed and stunned and mesmerized. Huh? But where did this word come from? Well, this word came to us from Latin. Because in ancient Rome, the Romans had a thing called fascinus. And a fascinus was basically a penis with testicles and wings. Right? Sometimes it had legs, sometimes it didn't, and it looked like this. So that was a fascinus. It was basically a giant flying penis. Right? Now, maybe you find this symbol and this discussion kind of offensive, right? But the Romans used to wear this symbol on necklaces. In fact, they used to put this symbol on their little babies as rings or as necklaces on babies. To them, it wasn't something offensive. It was a symbol that actually warded off, it eliminated evil. Now, how did it do that? Let's think about it. Now, the weird thing about a fascinus is that when you wear the fascinus points in the direction that you are traveling. It points in the direction, right? So let's think, why would this magical flying penis, how would that destroy evil? Well, maybe your first thought is that it's because it's like, strong and masculine and testosterone. But no. What they believed was that if evil came towards you, it would be so embarrassed and shocked and ashamed by this penis that it would go in a different direction. So it's an interesting idea, right? So let's look at the concept. First, we know that there exists evil. This was represented by the evil eye. But evil didn't come from people. Evil was kind of superstitious, right? It was something out there in the universe, something supernatural. And we could fight this supernatural evil by wearing this symbol which caused it shame. And you could enter into a big discussion about why we find genitals in general, why are we embarrassed about them? Some hunter-gatherer societies don't cover their bodies. They walk around naked. Why do we feel ashamed? But that's not what we want to talk about. We want to answer this question about crime and punishment. Do you believe that evil, that badness is a supernatural thing? Or does it come from people? And if it does come from people, well, where does it come from? And that brings us on to the next question about how we view punishment as a society. Where does the appropriate punishment come from? In some societies, they believe that appropriate punishment is decided by God. It's written in their religious text. He knew, he decided. Or maybe in other cultures, it's decided as a society in a secular fashion. And then, once we have these kind of discussions, we can start to really answer these type of questions. I want this to be your mantra as a teacher and as a student. The cure for boredom is curiosity. The ancient Greeks knew that curiosity was the real key to learning. So I want you to be fascinated by language. I'm Christian. This is Canguro English, and I'll see you in class.